So a day ago or so, I believe it was a day ago, I made a video just talking about the redstone situation, what you should do with them, if you should wait, etc., etc. We've since gotten the leak from, and the announcement even from Dokkan, that we'll be getting a Super Vegito Easy A. And this character is kicking up a lot of controversy because if you're new to the Dokkan community, if you're returning, maybe you just don't pay that much attention to how people perceive characters. He is weaker right now in terms of what we know about what the game is like right now. He is weaker definitively than his extreme counterpart, which is the extreme int Buhan. And even though they share some similarities in like passives like this, it is very clear that one of these characters absolutely blows the door off of the boss with huge damage, as well as being in a pretty consistently powerful category, which is the power absorption. One thing I want to put into perspective for you, if you don't really get why this doesn't matter, is that obviously Super is going to get 6 LRs, possibly. 6 of the 6 LRs being announced for this anniversary are probably going to be Super characters. More than any single Easy A, the extreme units do have to be overwhelmingly good because they might have to carry the next 2 months of Dokkan if you like villains. Whereas this Vegito, even though it is unfortunate maybe that he won't be, dropping a 40 million attack stat Super, and then another one, and then another one, like Int Boo is, he is going to be very usable. And I would actually go as far as to say that if you are a new player and you're trying to decide, oh, people keep telling me this one is good, but what about this one? What you kind of need to understand, and this is something I talk about a lot in Gacha, is let's say I go over here and I'm in this list. Who's going to run this team? Probably Tech TUR Boo. I didn't pull for Tech TUR Boo. Do you know why? The answer is pretty obvious. He is kind of bait before the 10th anniversary. We don't know what TURs are going to look like in 2025 in terms of great power scale. And they already in 2024 were a little bit worse than their LR counterparts. Some were exceptional, but certainly the strongest TUR was never better than the strongest LR. It doesn't mean that he isn't phenomenal. It just means that for the sake of building a full team as a new player or a returning player who might not have every character, guess what? These 2 LRs are getting Easy Aid. These 2 LRs last year got Easy Aid and are still good. Let's say you could put together a, Battle of Fate team, whatever all of these characters are on. That's 4 slots already. And then maybe you just pick this guy up 5th slot, and then maybe you pick up one of these 6 new LRs, and now you have a full team. Whereas, let's say you do pull this, or not this character, but let's say you do pull this character with your redstone. I'm not saying you shouldn't pull one with your redstone, because your redstones, there are 3 of them. You can pull this guy, but understand that you're seeing a lot of people be like, oh my god, he's unusable, he's unplayable, he's just good, he's just okay, whereas Int Boo is great. I hate to say this because Vegito is raw, but this guy doesn't really need to be great. And that is just sort of the reality of the situation. So if you're hyped for this character, if you saw him Super Easy A, you want to get into using some counters and such, don't be too worried. Clearly, he's not blowing the doors off, but he offers great support. A scouter is always useful to have. We have no idea what the content is going to look like in 2 months. So, hey, tanking 1 million normals might be what the team needs, and he'll just be able to dodge your characters around the super attack that's on the way. Let's get into the next point. The next thing I want to talk about is the Heroes Who Protect Earth category, as well as the Successor category. Mainly this one, actually, because, and there's a post I'm going to bring up in a moment, I haven't really seen anyone talk about this. I haven't really seen anyone dive into this as a point, though people smarter than myself may have. I am not a genius. I do not purport to be very right about Dokkan at any given time. I'm just calling it like I sees it. And in this case, something comes up that makes me sort of interested in the future of the anniversary. And it's something that Truth said, actually, which is that when Uncontrollable Power got its leader, it was actually in the part 2, even though we knew about it from before. And so one of the most interesting things, and I guess I should bring that up 1 second. So as I was previously saying, one of the most interesting things is we can kind of see it play out. Super Saiyan 4 Goku, as you've probably seen a lot of people say, protected the Earth, and he won. If you've seen the Truth video, you understand that this one makes a lot of sense, just it doesn't at a glance. A lot of characters who won in protecting the Earth, but maybe you could argue for some other examples. Obviously the big one, and I'll just repeat his point, is that, you know, future Gohan spent his entire life protecting the Earth, but obviously fell short, was killed by the androids, and then, ding 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 by the word buzzword, succeeded by Trunks. So that's kind of interesting. If we remember, we're getting an Android Cell Saga, and then there's a future, or I guess Super here. Android and Cell Saga, I actually brought up that the theme of the anniversary is family on one side. And I said this could probably be conceived as Goku's family or Vegeta's family. That's just for me. That's just what I'm spitballing. I don't got a line on Omatsu. I'm not saying, hey, Omatsu, you know, drop the details right now type shit. I'm just saying that that's how I personally perceive the theming. And one of the things that comes from the Successor category is Legends just dropped an all-time character, an all-time Legends Fest, with the quote-unquote Successor mechanic of a Gohan and a Trunks. When one dies, Trunks succeeds him by becoming a Super Saiyan because of his death. An amazing animation, something we don't really have in Dokkan, but we do have this character in Dokkan. Look at that. He's right there ready to easy A, isn't he? All nice and pretty. And we do have these androids, and as we head over here, we can sort of see that fill out. I'm not saying this is realistic, but I am saying that Successor, quote-unquote, is very interesting for this year because we are, in fact, due a Cell Saga celebration of some kind, and I don't think a proper Cell Saga celebration is coming in the 10th anniversary, though I would be personally excited, of course, to see Super Saiyan 2 Gohan show up. That said, the other thing that was kind of interesting to me about this is the Successor seems to feature a lot of Goku Blacks. Here's a Zamasu, here's a Zamasu, here's a Goku Black. One of the big things I said was that Dokkan likes to mirror, to some degree, Legends celebrations. We now actually hit the Vegito from their anniversary. Could we be looking at one single extreme entry in the 10th anniversary? Goku Black is the fusion of the strongest, obviously merging then into Zamasu being succeeded. Could we be seeing Goku Black show up to any extent, thus mirroring the Legends Fest drop of Rose? That could be very cool. Obviously, his body is just being inhabited, but there is a fusion to be gleaned here if they actually did want to do a fused Zamasu. Maybe a Goku Black, maybe a Rose and Zamasu dual card, though. This is extremely unlikely. The reason I wanted to bring this up, though, was just because we don't, at this point, see a lot of potential successors on this screen. Like, really give yourself a second to think about it. Vegeta is already coming at this point. So who would succeed? Like, who is the successor in this list? It's sort of hard to find one. Of course, what they could do, and maybe it's staring us right in the face, could we be getting a Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta for part 2, thus mirroring, of course, the Super Saiyan 4 we're getting here, and completing the sort of, excuse me, the unofficial duality that some Goku and Vegeta cards share, some Gogeta and Vegito cards share, which is to say that if they release one, they will no doubt release another. This is all speculation, of course. I don't know any better than you, and I am just making this point as a fun little brain exercise. That said, the other thing we see here that is extremely interesting is, as I pointed out, this unit as the ultimate fusion, which I don't know if you can call... No one could convince me that they don't fall into the strongest who fuse when Vegito fails to beat them. You know what I mean? Obviously, Super has a lot of issues, or that future arc has a lot of issues in how it ends, but you would be hard-pressed to say that Zamasu does not count as a strongest fusion with how powerful... I mean, he's literally a god. You know what I mean? But that said, that's like a 10%. This whole Successor category essentially gave me like a 10%. I'm not sure where they will go with the Successor tag, though, because we can't really see a definitive match for anyone else outside of Vegeta here. But is Vegeta even? Yeah, Vegeta's here. So he is a Successor. Goku is a Successor. Vegito doesn't fit on any of these. Which is obviously something people have pointed out, is that Vegeta doesn't fit on any of these. So he will probably have a Dokkan Fest that is something like... I guess we could go look for him. He'll probably have a Dokkan Fest that's something like... I don't know. I guess I could put it up, but actually I'm not gonna bother. You could have something that's like Fuse Fighters, Z War. No, that's out the window actually, because they revealed the tags. But Fuse Fighters, Patara, etc., etc. Certainly interesting. Certainly interesting. I think that this offers a few questions that are probably the most interesting in the game, as far as this celebration goes, and as far as the Kid Goku Copium goes, by the way. And I haven't seen people point this out very much either. He is right here. He is a hero who protects Earth by defeating the Demon King Piccolo. So could we see, maybe now we start to paint the picture of GT Goku, the 7-year EZA, the 7-year EZA, Vegito, the 2 EZAs we just got for the Majin Buu Saga. I think this essentially cuts out completely any representation for a Kid Buu. People are really coping for that. I don't think it's happening. Saiyan Saga EZAs seem obvious. The Planet Namek Saga EZAs seem pretty obvious. Android and Cell Saga, Gohan should be on here, no? Yeah, he's right here. Gohan is a hero who protects the Earth, of course. Very interesting. And maybe the final being that Goku we talked about over here, if he's not in fact just a free-to-play LR. But otherwise, I think Goku Black has actually appeared in a sort of big way, because how do you get, and also here's Demon King Piccolo. I would be shocked if we don't get a Demon King Piccolo this year with this category. How do you get a new Successor lead onto the team? It seems like mostly a villain's tag. Piccolo, obviously. But then Extreme Unit, Extreme Unit, Extreme Unit, Extreme Unit, Extreme Unit, Extreme Unit, Vegeta's, Extreme Unit, Extreme Unit. Sort of interesting, sort of interesting. That's going to do it for now, I think. Just posing a few questions. Like if you like the video, subscribe to go to the club. We are now minus 5-6 days away from peak, and don't worry about no bitch ass Pokemon, because I think we're crushing that fucking first day, first minute top grossing. We ain't worrying about Pokemon out here. We're smoking that TCG pack, so peace.